The O&W ran from Weehawken, New Jersey, across the Hudson River from New York City, northward along that river to Cornwall, New York, and then in a northwesterly direction through the southern tier of New York State to the town of Kenosha. There it split into two lines. One headed northward to Oswego on Lake Ontario, with an important branch to Utica, New York, and the other southwestward to the city of Scranton, PA, and its environs. The railroad prospered from the 1890s through the 1930s. The anthracite mine generated a constant stream of coal trains bound for Lake Ontario and Canada, as well as the tidewater at Cornwall and Weehawken. The remaining traffic was typical of a largely rural railroad. Manufactured and industrial materials inbound and agricultural products outbound. Milk and milk products were foremost among the latter. The O&W surpassed all of the region's railroads in the volume of dairy products hauled. But until the depletion of the company's mines in the late 30s and a turn to other fuels, coal was the lifeblood of the railroad. The loss of revenue from coal traffic was exacerbated by the expansion of modern, all-weather highways and the shift of transportation to trucks. World War II brought a temporary resurgence of traffic. After the war, the company rapidly dieselized in an attempt to refashion itself into a bridge route from the Scranton area, primarily from the Lehigh Valley Railroad, to the New Haven Railroad connection at Maybrook, New York. But traffic never fulfilled the anticipated volume. After struggling with bankruptcy for 2 decades, the railroad was abandoned in 1957. The O&W Railway Historical Society is an excellent source of more information. Because of space constraints and an affinity for upstate New York, I saw the railroad as modular, modeling specific locales with Kenosha foremost. From a traffic point of view, that junction was the heart of the railroad. From Kenosha, I built south through East Branch to Livingston Manor, north to Walton, and west to Mayfield, Coxton. No train was to appear in the same scene more than once. I was successful in this except for part of the Scranton Division, Main Line, which rides high above the town of Walton. The specific locales were to be linked by a continuous main line and holding staging tracks, which were hidden in tunnels or concealed beneath visible parts of the railroad. Thus, there are 6 tracks at Coxton Maybrook and 6 stub-end tracks beneath the Unadilla Valley Railroad, beginning at point A on the plan. Long mainline running was not the primary goal. Thus, trains come in and out of view as if one were standing in a real place. The time period is from the mid-40s to the early 50s, which makes for both steam and diesel operation. 2 short lines are modeled as well. The Delaware Northern, which appears merely as a stub interchange track, marked in orange on the plan, in the town of East Branch, and the Unadilla Valley. In reality, the UV did not connect with the O&W at Walton, but at another junction a number of miles away. The line out of Walton was an O&W branch to Delhi, New York, an important source of milk. But I used the license of selective compression. On the plan, the UV is marked in yellow. Operation. Though the main route of the railroad is one long continuous loop, it is operated in a point-to-point fashion, with simple freights originating and terminating at Coxton Maybrook. These are BC1 and BC3, Maybrook to Coxton, NE4 and NE6, Coxton to Maybrook, and SU1 Scranton Utica and US2 Utica Scranton. The trains set off and pick up blocks and individual cars at Kenosha, which functions as a classification yard. There was also train WA1, Weehawken Oswego, and train AW2, Oswego Weehawken. These two trains traverse the whole railroad but primarily handle traffic north of Norwich, largely for the towns of Oneida Castle, Oneida Fulton, and Oswego, which are beyond the routes of SU1 and US2. The northern division extends from Kenosha through Walton and terminates in 6 stub-end tracks underneath the Unadilla Valley. Locals. Local freights are dispatched out of Kenosha. There are 2 locals, the Livingston Manor turn and the Walton turn. The Walton local interchanges with the UV at Walton, while the Livingston Manor local interchanges with the Delaware Northern at East Branch. There's a 3rd local dispatched out of Mayfield to Kenosha and return. This 3rd local is a mixed train with a passenger coach or combine. All the locals serve online industries and provide LCL and express service. The coal business is an autonomous entity. 3 coal trains and 3 empty hopper trains are run during each operating session, all running extra. There are 2 milk trains, numbers 9 and 10. Both are rider coach for passengers. There are 2 passenger trains, numbers 1 and 2, the Ontario Express. The UV runs a milk train with rider car and a local freight train. Both trains are Walton and return. Car cars are used for routing and Digitrax radio cabs for control. 6 to 8 people are needed to run the complete cycle, which takes some 2.5 hours.